So just after 58 hours of playing, I finally managed to get the platinum for Helldivers 2. I'm not super heavy into trophy hunting, but usually if I like a game enough, I tend to try and get the most out of it by going for everything. And Helldivers 2 has been a blast. This game is so funny and reasonably cheap for what it offers compared to current gen games, even broke GTA's record on Steam for the most concurrent players. So yeah, this game is a big deal and it's very impressive how far it's come in such a short space of time. If you're someone who's still debating on buying this, what are you waiting for? Dive in. But anyways, there's 39 trophies including the platinum itself for PlayStation, so let's see how I managed to obtain all these. Now with a lot of these trophies, you'll see them pop up for me during the exfil at the end of the match, because the requirements behind most of them either require you to just play the game, gather X amount of items, do this to a certain enemy, play this difficulty without using a certain weapon, and then extract, but I'll try to get the more simpler ones out the way first. So the first trophy requires you to complete basic training. When you launch the game, you're taken through the fundamentals of Helldivers 2. Movement, healing, shooting, completing objectives, using stratagems, and of course, diving. You can skip the tutorial, but the trophy isn't missable because you can play it again from the start menu if you skipped it for whatever reason. To be fair, I did hear a lot of people skipping this because of the barbed wire section. Apparently it glitched, preventing players from crawling under it, and that the button prompt wasn't showing for PC players, but the suggested fix was to restart your game and you should be good to go. I was on PlayStation and didn't have this problem. The only problem I had was that my game kept crashing, kept disconnecting. This game was very buggy at launch, which is kind of why I held off getting these trophies until more updates rolled out. As of making the video though, the game seems fine. I haven't run into any major issues. But yeah, that's the first trophy out the way. Now for the next few, these are self-explanatory, so I'll just speed through these. There's the Bug Stomper trophy, which requires you to complete a bug mission. This can be any Terminid mission. Bot Scrapper, which requires you to complete a bot mission. Similar to Bug Stomper, this can be any automaton mission. They don't call it tactical for nothing, where you have to complete 10 tactical objectives. Democracy ain't done with you yet. This is where you have to heal another player with a stim. Ship It, where you just need to buy one level of each ship module. There's Fully Operational, a continuation of Ship It, where you just need to max out one ship module, or in other words, buy all 3 upgrades on any ship module. Extractinating the Countryside, where you need to play a defense mission. For the greater good, kill 5,000 enemies. Now onto the ones that may need a bit more info and explanation as to how I got it. I do apologise in advance, some of these trophies didn't fully show how I got them, or more so they were kind of random and unexpected since it doesn't look like I met the requirements. PS5 is really good for trophies because if you have the setting on, it will automatically record when you get a trophy for any game, but unfortunately it only records about 15 to 20 seconds, so you may not see everything, but I'll do my best to explain them. The first trophy here is Patriot. Play at least 50 missions. They just need to be completed. If you fail to extract but your team does, it still counts. Job's done. Now leading off from the Patriot trophy, complete a mission but fail to extract. Now if you play with randoms and run into a toxic host, you will most certainly get this trophy, because that's how I got mine. In Helldivers 2, typically if you don't make it to the ship in time but the rest of your team does, you still get the rewards, nothing happens. I had a player kill me right before I could get on the ship, so the trophy was a bonus really. Getting kicked is the problem though, that's when you receive nothing, so I'd suggest making yourself the host to guarantee yourself some form of safety, and you can also kick anyone who's been toxic. But anyways, next trophy, the Long Arm of Justice. Kill a target at a distance of over 100 meters. This one is one of the random trophies I got because the clip doesn't really show me killing anything. In fact, I was dead at this point and spawning back in, so I honestly have no idea how I got this. Maybe I had a sentry or a mortar running somewhere, I don't know. But hey, the trophy popped, I can't complain. Now if I was to do this properly, I'd run a marksman rifle and find a base on an automaton planet. Most of the robots are stationary there, so you should be able to pick them off from a distance. In the nick of time, where you need to extract after the timer reaches 0, essentially once you run out of time, a shuttle will still be able to pick you up, but the only handicap is you can't use any stratagems at this point, so you have to be careful if you're making your way there. You can also lower the difficulty as well to make sure you don't run into any trouble. Spread Managed Democracy, where you need to kill 150 enemies in a single mission. I'd say definitely do this on a Terminid planet and run a machine gun, sentry and some orbitals if you can. Take advantage of every bug breach that occurs and you should be good. Get some, where you need to fire at least 150 rounds in one burst and kill 10 enemies. Like with the previous trophy, taking advantage of bug breaches is good, but for this to pop, you can't let go of the trigger, so just be wary of that. From the clip, I kept firing anyway, but unfortunately, Helldivers isn't the sort of game to show you your exact ammo count, so I would suggest to play it safe, empty the whole mag regardless of whether you think you've met the requirements or not, and of course, make sure your streak counter is on at least 10 by the time you've run out of ammo. There's Kill It With Fire, where you need to kill 100 enemies with fire damage in the same mission. Again, I'd recommend Terminids for this and running a flamethrower if you've purchased it already, but if you haven't, you may be able to find one during a mission in one of the bunkers or crash sites. The flamethrower spreads like crazy, so I'd say be careful not to crispify your teammates in the process like I did.
I'm collateral damage!
To speed this up as well, you can also run the napalm airstrike to cover a larger area, for nests especially. Extractamundo, where you need to extract as a full squad on a hard difficulty mission or higher. I believe you do need 4 players for this though, so playing with friends will make this 10 times easier. You can die as many times as you want during the mission, as long as all 4 of you get on the ship, this will pop. Now just a word of warning, you can still be killed whilst boarding the ship, so lowering the difficulty may be easier, or if you are playing on a harder mission, on a Terminid planet for example, make sure enemies like Biotitans and Spewers are gone, as they're the main culprits for the green goo they spit, which can hit the inside of the ship. Samples are a diver's best friend, where you need to extract with at least 15 rare samples as a team. Rare samples are more common on harder difficulties, and this is a collective trophy. You don't need to be the one carrying them all. As long as you have at least 15 amongst your whole team, you should be good. And for a similar one, science is done by quantity, where it's described to extract with at least 15 common samples. This was a difficult one because my friends and I weren't too sure on how this needed to be done. The description is fairly simple, but vague at the same time. At first we thought maybe one player needs to be holding 15 common samples, so once we had more than 15, we'd give it all to one player, extract, but this didn't work. So what I did was loaded up a solo match on trivial difficulty, then went to gather 15 samples, extract, and this gave me the trophy. Now the only difference is that I initially picked up the samples, so we let one of our friends do the same. We'd point out where the samples were and let him pick them up, and once he had 15, we'd extract. However, even with this method, it still didn't work. I'm baffled, but I'd say the safest way to get this trophy is to just do it solo. That at least guaranteed it for me anyway. Strapping Young Lad, where you need to customize your Helldiver with a new cape, armor and helmet. I did this through the acquisitions page. I just bought some random gear and eventually gave me the trophy, but I think if you buy a full set of armor with the super credits on the main store page and equip it, it'll give you the trophy as well. Eat This, where you need to kill a bug warrior with a shotgun within 1 meter. It's these guys, a fairly common enemy you'll find on any Terminid map. Just make sure you're as close as possible and the trophy should pop. I had to just lower the difficulty a bit to avoid taking too much damage, and as soon as you see a bug breach, get in close and shotgun away. I like to use the breaker shotgun. I hear that it's been nerfed recently, but any shotgun will do really. Just make sure you're as close as possible and maybe equip the bubble shield to increase your survivability in this situation. Promote Synergy, where you have to provide an assisted reload for a teammate. You will need a friend or fellow Helldiver for this one. I think this can only be done with either the autocannon or the recoilless rifle. You just have to make sure you're the one carrying the ammo pack before attempting this and you'll get the trophy. They mostly come at night, where you have to extract during the night time. Now I only just realized this late into the game, but you can actually see the time at the war table, and as long as it's between 6 PM and 6 AM, completing a mission within this time will unlock the trophy. 2 other straightforward ones. Nothing is bigger than Freedom, where you need to defeat a Hulk. It's a fairly large sized robot that wields either a buzzsaw, flamethrower or rocket pod. Now I don't know if you guys have ever watched Robot Wars, but seeing a Hulk for the first time kinda reminded me of those house robots, mainly in terms of weapons used. But in short, as long as you get the killing blow, the trophy will pop. I would personally recommend an orbital. Hulks can easily run up and destroy sentries, so a laser or rail cannon should do the job. To make things quicker, a rail cannon will one-shot a Hulk. But yeah, you can use anything really. For weapons that use regular bullets though, you will need to shoot its weak spot on its back. Its front is heavily armoured, so it's either that, or if you want to take it head on, use an autocannon for extra firepower. The Taller They Are is another trophy where you need to kill a Biotitan, same as the Hulk trophy really. As long as you get the killing blow, you should be good. Now usually Biotitans can't be one-shot by a rail cannon, so your best bet is to weaken one with some arc shots like my friend did here, then throw an orbital or vice versa. When I got the trophy, I believe it was already hit with a rail cannon shot, so a few extra shots finished it off. Now there's been some debate on whether the orbital laser works for this, but I'd always go for the rail cannon. The lasers are better for crowd control and if anything, better for automatons, you know, using them to clear out bases and whatnot. However, I do have footage of me killing a battle titan with a full laser burst, so it is possible, it just takes longer. And if you're playing with randoms, they may attack it as well, which could void the trophy for you in case your laser damage doesn't perform the killing blow. And now, onto the trophy called Hot Potato.
Hot potato! Hot potato! If I may.
This is where you need to throw back a live grenade. This needs to be done on an automaton control planet. Now I think I know how everyone feels about automatons. Their defenses are absolutely insane. Their blasters pack a heavy punch. Their mines, despite being easy to avoid, can still make you eat dirt. And well, as for their detection towers, if they spot you, it's on sight.
Rev up those fryers, cause I am sure hungry for one.
Woo! You know you did.
Even in all this, the blast radius of a grenade is very large. My friend threw one back here and the initial explosion still knocked us over, despite being behind the shipping containers. But nonetheless, it's a straightforward trophy, just make sure when you throw it back, you're far enough away. The next trophy is Cool Guys Don't where you need to fly at least 25 meters from a shockwave of an explosion. This was another weird one because quite frankly I didn't fly anywhere. There was an explosion but I wasn't knocked by that. This bug came up behind me and pushed me over, so I'm not sure how I got this trophy here. If anything, the knockback of an explosion should be more like
My blade! My blade! My blade! My blade!
onto that which does not kill you, be injured in all limbs at the same time. This was a funny one. Now there is an easy way to do this by equipping an armor set which gives you a 50% chance not to die from lethal damage. Load up any mission, throw a grenade at your feet and a trophy should pop. Now it's not guaranteed first try, so you may need to do it more than once, but the way I got mine was interesting. I got this on an automaton planet. We'd just taken out an outpost and I killed one of the bots which was very close to me, but some of these guys explode after death and I was right on him when he exploded, which didn't initially kill me, so I got the trophy, but the explosion also set the bot on fire, which then crispified me to death, so yeah, that's another way to do it I guess. Next we have Caught Them by Supplies, where you have to kill a charger with a resupply pod. Now I initially thought this would be a lot harder because I misread this entirely. I thought you had to kill a charger with a redeploy pod, which is a bit more difficult since you have to time your landing and maybe even have a friend help keep the charger in one place. Chargers can be a bit of a pain, especially if you're left to deal with them yourselves. They're easy to dodge, don't get me wrong, but if you don't have the stratagems for one, it can make the whole process long since their main weak spot is on their back. But luckily that isn't the case, you just need to throw a resupply marker on it. This will automatically lock on and you should get the trophy. But I will note, to be safe, weakening the charger beforehand will make sure it dies. I'm not too sure if a resupply pod insta-kills chargers, so in my opinion it's better to be safe than sorry. Then we have It's the Only Way to Be Sure, a very fun one. You need 6 orbital barrage stratagems in the same place at the same time.
Down. Requesting orbital.
Orbital down!
Now that's a lot of damage!
Why not stand in it and see what happens? Now there was an update which adjusted where orbitals will land, and I'll be honest, whilst this isn't the end of the world, it was a bit annoying because things like this happen.
Orbital inbound.
Preparing to depart. Shuttle launch in 20 seconds.
You're not going anywhere!
I mean, what are the odds of an orbital not only landing right in front of us, but hitting the explosive barrel as well? Initially I was blamed for this because I threw a Gatling barrage down, but after watching it back, I can now prove my innocence. It turns out my teammate threw another orbital on the left hand side, and well, this was a literal missile that landed on our heads. So yeah, it wasn't me.
I did time for crime I didn't do,
but I did many crimes and do not one day.
Next trophy is Hold My Liberty, where you need to ragdoll whilst using a jump pack. Now I'm not really a fan of the jump pack, so I sort of did this manually. I threw a grenade, then flew into the air, or tried to, then got the trophy. It's relatively easy though, you just need to fly into some sort of explosion. I've heard players do it by flying into another player's orbital, so you can be a bit creative to be honest. Then we have Stalking is Illegal. Oh dear. Now this trophy ain't that bad, it's just the stalkers are absolutely outrageous.
Hello, motherfucker.
My spider sense is tingling. I'm being watched.
Nope.
This trophy requires you to complete a Stalker Hive objective, or in other words, destroy a Stalker nest. In my opinion, Stalkers are definitely the most annoying of the Terminid faction. They're fast, their damage and dodging capability is insane, and they can partially turn invisible. I would always advise finding the nest as soon as possible if you see one, because they will keep spawning, and if they keep spawning, well, they'll definitely mess you up. I mean, one of these Stalkers hit me so hard my arms were stuck in a Conor McGregor stance.
I can't see what this is about. Where the fuck is everyone?
But yeah, on this one, we luckily found it during their downtime and no stalkers were spawning, so that was an easy clear. In terms of locating the nest, if you see a stalker coming towards you or if it comes up behind you, just check the direction they came from or look further ahead. Usually there's at least 1 or 2 more stalkers in the distance. I believe they usually roll in groups of 2 or 3 and some may be invisible at this point, but they are still slightly visible technically. And that usually means the nest is in that direction, so just keep heading there and you'll find it. Okay, so now those are out of the way, let's take a look at the ones that gave me the most trouble. Let's call it a draw, where you need to shoot off both arms of a Hulk and extract whilst it's still alive. Okay, this one took us multiple attempts. On our first go, I forgot to equip an autocannon, which didn't help, but my friend managed to take off one arm. I think he needed to reload at this point, so he had to back off a bit, but I didn't have the firepower to take off the other arm, so I was left with this thing chasing me like it's round 40 on zombies. With no ammo, of course. On our second attempt, we went as a full squad to make this a little easier. Now there were plenty of Hulks on this map, so we tried to take advantage here. I found one and tried to shoot off one of its arms on my own, but because this was at a base, I quickly found out. After spawning back in, I went to try again, but then found myself getting pincered by a second patrol, so I had to back off. Luckily, my teammate located one in between some rocks here. I let off 2 shots and I think I hit it. I'm not sure how many rounds are needed to take an arm off, but I had to temporarily stop and call my teammate back in. Luckily, my other teammate was the better shot and managed to get both arms off. Thank you very much, bro. However, this was short-lived because I think this Hulk was killed for 2 reasons. First of all, the shrapnel flying across my screen here. And second of all, seeing a Hulk-like corpse in the distance. Now again, I didn't actually see this Hulk die with my own eyes, so I could have been wrong, but I tried to do the challenge again just in case by shooting off an arm here, but this was a critical hit which killed the Hulk instantly. We eventually got overrun and I was not in a good position to retry, so I said F it, let's try another time, but somehow the trophy popped after extracting. Honestly, I'm confused. Now we were separated a bit for the first half of the mission, so maybe one of my teammates did this without the rest of us knowing, or it could be that the armless Hulk I did see was still alive somewhere. I don't know, this will always remain a mystery to me. But anyways, the next trophy was Helldive, where you need to complete an extreme difficulty mission or higher without anyone dying. This took a couple of attempts, but the best method we found was to run a defense mission on this specific map. There's a rock you can climb up and the Terminids will struggle to reach you. On the odd occasion, some Terminids can jump up here and obviously a Bile Titan will force you off with its Bile Spit, but to maximize your survivability, I would suggest camping up here as much as you can and let your sentries do the work. It didn't take us too long, about 8 minutes or so, and that was that. And on to the next trophy, Hold My Primary I'm Going In, where you need to complete a hard mission or higher without anyone shooting a primary or support weapon. I think for support weapons they mean any arc weapons, guard dogs, machine guns, basically any weapons in the blue category. This took us a couple of tries because one of our teammates accidentally fired off shots upon redeploying, which is understandable because when you respawn you're defaulted to your primary weapon, so I guess they just forgot. Now I did make jokes about setting off my primary as well, and one of my teammates didn't approve. So much so that on the next match when my teammate shot his primary again, he made sure no one left the planet.
Did it hurt? No, fucking sue me.
But luckily on attempt 3 or 4 we finally managed to get the trophy. I'd say definitely run this on a defense mission, use the SMG, it's actually pretty powerful for a secondary, and also run sentries, you should be okay. Only 3 left now, onto the rarest trophy outside of the platinum, gone in 360 seconds. This requires you to complete an entire blitz mission in under 6 minutes. This means that you need to destroy every facility or nest and call the extraction before the 10-minute mark or 8-minute mark. Now the time depends on how many players you have, so for 2 people the extraction timer will be 2 minutes, and for 3 or more people I believe it's 4 minutes. I actually did this without my friends this time because I don't think they were available. It is doable on your own, which is what I tried initially, but you can't load up a blitz mission solo, so I had to ask randoms for help. Now to avoid being unfair and disrupting players' matches, I'd always ask players if they were hunting this trophy. If not, I'd do the mission as normal, then move on to the next one. Eventually I found a player going for this trophy, sort of. I asked in chat and I assumed he was talking about this one, but he actually needed help with another one first. This was the only way to be sure trophy. So myself and another player helped him with this. I'm not sure what happened the first time, the maximum number of barrages a player can hold is 4. I used 3 barrages but made sure to use all of the ones I had equipped, but he said he still didn't get it. This was the loadout everyone was using on the first fail. To me that seemed like more than enough orbitals, but I believe one of the players on our team spawned elsewhere and some of us were killed almost instantly, so yeah, it was a major flop. But anyway, we eventually managed to get it on the second attempt. Now I think if there was any life hibernating under the soil here, they would definitely be awake now. After completing his request, we moved on to the harder trophy. Our first attempt failed because someone left mid-match, and because there were more than 2 people, the timer was set to 4 minutes instead of 2, so we had no chance. On our second attempt, things were going well, we just needed to take out one more facility, then call the extraction, but unfortunately my teammate died just before we could reach the final one. We did still have 2 minutes left, so I could have respawned him and either of us could have gone to this one and this achievement would have been done and dusted, but I asked to restart anyway just to play it safe. I soon came to regret this decision because I fluffed one of my facilities on the next run. I should have saved my laser for last, but instead used it to clean up this one. The orbitals left weren't really suitable for the extraction area, so I was hesitant to use it at first, but luckily my teammate came in clutch and managed to call the extraction at around the 9-minute mark. We managed to camp out and hold the automatons and extract within 6 minutes. For anyone trying this, definitely do it on an automaton planet. The facilities are easier to destroy, you'll get through them a lot quicker compared to the Terminid nest in my opinion. Shout out to Helldivers C49, he was a big help on this one.
Vegeta, thanks.
For what? I should be thanking you, Kakarot.
Nah, what do you mean? I loved every minute. Goodbye, my friend.
Many apologies for this guys, this one wasn't really troublesome, I just forgot to include it somehow, so I thought I'd squeeze it in here. The power of democracy, kill 25 enemies with 1 stratagem. For this I'd recommend any wide radius orbital, the cluster bomb or strafing one should be fine. Now you may need to train them a bit to gather them up, but once that's done let it fly. If you're with friends just let them know beforehand to make sure they don't kill anything or so that they can spread out a bit. Otherwise this is doable in a solo match, just run a shield so you can have some protection whilst training. And with that, after dozens of hours in game, this brings us to our final trophy, doing your part, where you need to complete 100 missions. This would pop on its own, so I just needed to play the game. To give you guys an idea, each dive can take up to around 30 minutes on average, so realistically you're looking at maybe 50 hours more or less to get this trophy. If we count blitz missions as well, this would be a lot less. Bearing in mind, the missions just need to be completed. If you die and fail to extract but the rest of your team does, it still counts, and you can actually track your progress via the missions 1 tab at the armory. With patience and enduring absolute carnage, I eventually completed 100 missions, got the trophy, and also unlocked the platinum.
Yeah, boy.
Whee! Yeah!
So there you have it, the platinum for Helldivers 2. There were definitely a few challenging ones, but I think the amazing thing about these trophies is that because of the requirements, you can still have a laugh at the end of the day. You know, watching yourself and your friends run for your lives, be sent ragdolling across the map will have you in tears. Interestingly, I checked my in-mission time and it totaled at 34 hours, which is a lot less than the baseline I gave of 50 hours. PlayStation told me I had 58 hours on it, but this accounts for idle time, time on the ship, upgrades, not just time spent in missions, so you could get this done a lot sooner. Overall, it's a solid platinum with a decent challenge. I wouldn't say it's the most difficult, it's not extremely hard, although my opinion could be biased because I was playing with friends for the most part. Playing with friends makes a lot of these trophies 10 times easier, so many thanks to them for helping me out on some of these. But if anything, I'd say if you don't have friends to play with and want this platinum, I'd suggest finding some fellow Helldivers from Reddit or the Steam community for these specific trophies. Especially on Reddit as well, the people there are very nice, so you shouldn't have trouble finding some players to help you. If anyone watching also got the platinum, how did you find it? Was it easy, difficult, a reasonable challenge for you? Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. It's been Dre, take care and see you next time.